Yeah, I can edit it. Anyway. But so great. So welcome everybody. We've got a great evening, beautiful night. Rain held off. So welcome to Jules Poetry Playhouse on the back porch. So this is the first of our back porch reading series, and I encourage you to pick up the flyer in the other room. We'll have 3 more series this year. Rebecca's going to be in one of them, and this is sold out. Hers is sold out. We've got 2 more open. So if you're interested, don't wait too long. And then we also have classes. So
May I ask you for a favor? This is a little close to the edge for me. Can we move this
we
back?
could move this up.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Say the same.
Thank
Yeah.
you, John. That feels a little more secure.
Yeah, we don't want to lose any.
We don't want
We don't want to lose any limbs either.
And maybe here you probably notice there's birds around here. There are some gamble quail.
I was wondering if your quail returned.
And there are some little babies.
Just saw the babies for the first time, about a dozen of them.
Wow.
Call to get a photo.
And Wendy, another ornithologist. Whoops, here, we need a rock. Okay. We're gonna grab a rock for your papers here.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. Wendy informed me that the males are the ones that go out with the chicks. Right?
Babysitters.
Thank you so much.
You want to here?
That's
Let's grab a rock
Grab a rock from
right here for your book. All right.
Well, except I'm gonna be reading from the book.
Yeah, we'll get a.
Get a rock. There's a rock on the table. So, and then there's also a lot of bunnies around here. So there's all kinds of wildlife. And if you haven't already, you can walk the labyrinth later. So, okay, so I will introduce Sharon. So it's great to have Sharon here at the Playhouse. And
Thank you,
actually,
Jules.
she was telling me that the first time she read poetry, was here at the Playhouse. Good, we got a
Probably
couple.
cleaner than mine.
So Sharon lives in Albuquerque in the North Valley. And you currently live in Los Ranchos with her husband Charles and mini golden doodle. Okay. So
Pasquale. Yes.
So Sharon has been a freelancer, writer, journalist. She's past president of the New Mexico Press Women. She's served on the boards of the New Mexico Humanities Council, which we have somebody here from that, and then the Farm and Ranch Heritage Museum. She's a former restaurant reviewer for the Albuquerque Journal, arts editor of the Santa Fe Reporter, and then the Southwest correspondent for Sunset Magazine. So she's got a lot of essays and profiles and features, and I'm really glad she is doing poetry tonight. So today she will be reading from her latest book, The Ungentrified, and those are for sale out there, and she'll be happy to chat and sign them later. I love
$10.
Love this photo. Did you?
Oh, yes, I did. Thank you.
And it has an intro by Demetria Martinez. Demetria is doing a workshop here in October as well. So she's a friend of ours as well. So small world. And I also wanted to bring this one to attention. These are also for sale back there, the back roads and byways of New Mexico. So you've got a really varied different types of writing that you do. So it's great. So I will let you get going, and then
Thank you, Jules.
we'll have Sharon here, and then we'll follow by Scott, and then we'll have some Q&A and conversation after as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So good.
Thank you, Jules.
Leave your books here in case.
Okay, my dear. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful.
Thank you all for being here tonight. It's just great to be here. Can you all hear me okay? As Jules was saying, I'm very new at this. I just recently stepped out in this direction, and I was intrigued by this lovely gathering. So started coming to them, and then I guess simultaneously started getting ideas to write. And Um, very kindly, Jules and John welcomed me, or I felt welcome enough, and they welcomed me. And I did my first open mic here. So we were trying to remember if that was 2 or 3 years ago, but the main thing is it was after the pandemic. So we remember that much. But thank you for all being here today. Um, I always um, I put together some of my poems, and for no other reason, no deadline, no pressure, just because I wanted to do it, put together this book, Ungentrified, Poems of the North Valley and Beyond. I think I'm in my third incarnation in the North Valley right now, and this is a house that probably some of you will recognize on the Camino Real on Edith Boulevard. And as someone remarked, I can't tell if they're inside and want to get out or if they're outside when they get in. So I'm going to read from the book. And I've had a very productive, because when phrases come to me, I've learned better write it down right now. Year of generating new work, and I've got some new poems I'd love to share with you and welcome your comments or thoughts or reactions to them. But let me start out with this one because it is so seasonal and it's so what I'm doing right now. And it's called Learning to Love Petunias. Petunias, how I scorned them. Common flowers, easy to grow, ordinary, found everywhere, boring as begonias or geraniums. I preferred antique roses, Don Juan, Toulouse-Lautrec, Constance Spry, confabulations of petals, scent, delicacy, too good for this world. I spent a fortune on mulches, concocted seaweed potions to nourish root growth, released ladybug larvae at twilight, slayed aphids at dawn by hand. All season I scarcely slept, kept vigilant against the inevitable. Black spot, powdery mildew, spider mites, thrips, leafhoppers, and weevils, each enemy requiring its own defense. My heart broke when buds wilted, and I carried on. Donned new gloves, pruned next season, consoled by my flower's hard-won beauty, I prepared to lose my own. At least it could be said, you grow such beautiful roses. Now I keep pots of petunias, translucent pinks mixed with indigo, coral, alongside scarlet, gaily thriving. They are no trouble. They require only water and sunshine. Neither July drought nor desert heat spoils their persistent joy. Pests avoid them. However, bees sip from their open hearts. Deadheading is a pleasure that brings new blossoms. Petunias are a piñata burst open, favors falling freely, bright as a child's birthday balloons. They behave as though summer will last forever. They are a polka, hands clapping, feet stomping, flying across the dance floor, as commonplace as a friendly smile on a dark, lonely road. Thank you. And this is about vegetation of another sort. Quelites. Begin with scissors, staff, sack. Prowl back alleys. Startle feral cats. Hope in God's gifts. Quelites. Wild spinach, yes. Here in dusty despair, nourishment abounds. This portion of manna forces its way through shattered glass, cracked concrete, forgotten intentions, discarded possessions. A scavenger for grace rejoices in stalks bearing jagged green leaves. With no abuelita to teach preparation, grasp the spoon, intuit the method. Rinse well, boil, chop garlic, onion, fry bacon, add leaves, stir gently until tender. Serve hot. Enjoy. Now that people were saying, where else have you lived? So I lived in Raton for 15 years, and that is definitely a Raton sort of poem. Okay. And it's strange. I've been writing about this for so long, and now it becomes every day a clearer, sad reality. Border journey. Stop beside a descanso, her picture on the cross, smiling, so young. Police search 2 men at Escondido. Sunday afternoon, scorched white heat. Military convoy slinks south. Radar colossus towers 10 stories skyward. Pillar of smoke stalks Renato del Muerto. My people, too, followed a pillar of smoke through the desert 40 years. I've heard the storm warning 3 times. Take shelter immediately. Lightning splits sky with fire. Last night, I sang with the holy mariachis at Guadalupe's Santa Fe shrine. I will drive through this storm, this hail, these winds. Tonight, I will sleep on the border. And I think I'll read you one more from the book here. This is always a hit because I think I fake people out with the title. Okay. You got to do that sometimes, you know? I almost titled the book this, but then I thought I wasn't sure where the book would end up. Life is like a one-night stand. I want to put my arms around life, hold it close, squeeze it tight, climb on it, wrap my legs around it, twist with it, explode with it. I want to dance with life, though it pushes me around on the floor, too close to the edge, keeps me in the dark, does not say thank you, expects to take me home. Life is not a good person and does not care what I think about that. Life is a narcissist with no intention of changing. Of course he has others, but we don't talk about that. Life is a crude lover. He doesn't get me or pay attention or take time. Life does not give me what I want most. Life only gives me what he feels like giving when he is in the mood. But hey, life, I know you need me to look you in the eye, to tell your stories. We meet up at the hot springs in Truth or Consequences. Moonrise over Turtleback Mountain lights the Rio Grande silver. Life takes me to his beached airstream, has his way with me all night long. Yes, I've traveled New Mexico. Very good, thank you. Okay. Yeah, this is a more recent one. Okay. La Llorona walks the ditch. I saw La Llorona walking the ditch this morning as the waning moon was setting, like in a movie or a dream. She materialized out of the mist, dust devil dervishes dancing beside her. Sirens, motorcycles, helicopters, grackles, doves. All Albuquerque went silent. Oh, wailing woman, do not cast your curse on me. I mean you no harm. I walk this dusty path like you, searching for answers in dry-boned ditches. I recognize you. You sell tamales from the back of your truck at Santo Domingo gas station. You stand in front of me at the grocery checkout line, hunting for coins at the bottom of your change purse. You pull the lever at the casino, but nothing comes out. You camp all winter in front of Bank of America, your possessions piled beside you. Sitting on Old Town Plaza, you embroider a tea towel for tourists. Tui-yo, your threads speak. You are a sharp roadside trader. Your pottery and earrings for whatever you can get. Your face is my mother's, skin stretched tight over your features, angry to your last breath. Coatlicue, Tonatzin, Malintzin, Lilith, Eve, hated, feared, used, betrayed, your daughters powerless, but for the unsteady hand moving across the page.
Wow.
Thank you. Okay. This is a very recent one. This is called Dawn Before the Dawn. There is a dawn before the dawn, just before night transforms to day. Sirens stilled, howling cats departed, skunk been and gone. Last train whistled through hours ago. I could be sleepwalking in the dark that is not completely dark. I draw my cloak closer. Embossed silk wraps my skin. Scant protection, but I choose beauty every time. Illusion, delusion. We have to get by somehow. In the shadows of the catalpa tree, my feet stand upon precious blossoms. No sooner do they open than they fall. Waxing moon brings light, candle flame to guard her vast loneliness. Botticelli blue washed with deepest indigo appears just as the planet spins the final fraction it must to change everything. In the dawn before the dawn, across town, you read a book I lent you. Drink strong black coffee, memoir of a hopeful time that ended sadly when our Icarus fell into the sea. Hope is harder to come by now, like rubbing two sticks together until your hands are blistered, weary, and you think you see smoke.
Oh.
Um, um, how am I doing on time, Jules? Am I fine? Okay. Well, here's another one that I guess these are my responses to the times we're living through. Here's another. I have no idea where they come from. Someday they will ask. When I was a child, I asked my grandmother what life was like in the old world, the place she came from. We don't talk about those times, she said. We are Americans now. I built her an imaginary village, a pond where fish jumped, clear air, meadows of flowers, peaceful chickens, goats, cows. Maybe Heidi lived there, or the boys from the Shire. Maybe 100 years from now, someday, they will want to know about these days, how it could have happened, how we let it happen, how we got through it. Let me just get up and chop a turnip for the soup. Let me crochet another row. Let me plant tulips once more. Let me surrender my hopes and find hope anew. in song, stories, scattered stars, shards of pottery. Let me meet you in the cafe, my friend, where we will talk and laugh, and the world will make sense for a little while. Okay, here's another relatively new one. This is kind of sad. But you don't mind, right? Okay. Irene, who was Diego. Last August, you drove your U-Haul filled to the breaking point with furniture and hope through the front gate of the house next door. Yes, you invited yourself. You knew they needed you. I sat on the window ledge sipping coffee while you drank yours and smoked under the catalpa tree. Sometimes we waved. Weeks ago, you drove your U-Haul back to Phoenix. Didn't say goodbye. Even after winter Sundays, kitchen windows steamy, when you taught me to make tamales Sonoran style and mole with chilies I'd never tasted from Guerrero, where your grandmother raised you. I knew you as Irene, but bank statements said you were Diego. Your daughter came by to collect your mail. You'd wanted to buy a house together with her GI Bill and your cash. She drove off in her electric car, left no forwarding address. You set your dining room table with paper plates, Mexican Cokes, macaroni salad, decorated Valentine's cupcakes, 20-gallon pot bursting with tamales. Grandsons around the table, drawn away from their computer games for a little while. A dream of plenty come true. Under the catalpa tree where you sat and smoked, you left 3 painted rocks. 2 with children's handprints, red and blue. 1 a fading yellow sunflower. Called Painted Turtles. It's a glimpse of my childhood in New Jersey. They arrived every February. Turtles the size of $50, painted in bright colors, carrying our names on their backs. With tiny, squirming legs, they were turquoise, hot pink, lime green, along with a sack of temple oranges, so sweet and juicy they were doled out. Souvenirs of the Sunshine State sent by Grandma from Miami Beach, where she spent the winter playing the horses in Hialeah. Gifts meant to dispel the slushy gray New Jersey winter when the radiators clanged all night, drying our wet socks. My brother and I raced our turtles on the dining room table. After a week or two, they vanished. My mother took care of that.
Oh, my.
You know, I think I should probably dedicate that to my mother who, not my mother, my brother, who passed away very untimely a couple of years ago, but that really brings back memories of him. So I think I'll just close up with one final right here. In my philosophy. Winter Twilight, Canyon Road. Do not say you will come back when it is warmer, when you have time, when the light is better. when the galleries are open, when the chestnut trees are green, when a woman in red sits on the garden bench, when the blue gate is wide open, when the duende seizes you, when you are not obsessing, when you are not regretting, when you are not counting your losses. See the hunger moon scale the sangres. Press the shutter now. Thank you. Thank you for your kind attention. I appreciate it very much.
Enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
The little turtle brought back memories to me as a child.
Did you get those little turtles?
It was always. It did not happen. It did not do it. No.
Well, that was delightful. And wonder if we can have one more round of applause for Sharon. Uh, so it's my pleasure tonight to introduce an old Buffalo friend. I did my grad work in Buffalo and then spent 20 years teaching at Rochester Institute of Technology down the road. Scott W. Williams was born on Staten Island, raised in Baltimore, and his teaching journey includes professor at University of Buffalo. He first got there in 1971, he told me, and retired in 2005, was it?
When?
You retired
I died in 2013.
in 2013, 1971 to 2013. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Scott was a Fulbright professor in Prague, Czech Republic, adjunct professor at Beijing Teachers University in Beijing, China, and he's now professor emeritus at the University at Buffalo, New York. That's one side of his life journey, the mathematician and professor, and a not insignificant career. One of my mathematician friends, Irish mathematician friend, said, couldn't believe that I knew Scott W. Williams. Scott is a legend, So that's one side of it. And in past decades, he's been more and more becoming a very active poet. He's been published in magazines like Coffee House, Cryptic, Juniper Poetry, Punch Drunk Press, I love it, Peach Mag, Oddball Magazine, Rigorous, Rundalania, Mason Street Review, and others. He has published two recent books for Richard Wright. Claire Songbirds is the publisher, and Gambler's Woods, which is here, which is available for purchase from Moonstone Press. Scott's also the co-host of the Sea of Coffee open mic in Canandaigua, New York. So I can't remember exactly where I first met Scott, at probably one of those open mics in Buffalo. And then
You met in Buffalo when there was going to be introductory meetings for Cloudbirds.
Oh,
And
okay.
I got invited there by accident.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then we had this for a decade or so, we had this annual poets retreat in the Finger Lakes. And Scott and I were among the 25 or so people that would come every May for a weekend. It was a wonderful event. And then Scott started coming to more and more of the Rochester open mics, and we saw him a lot there. And in 2019, Jules and I put together a poets retreat in Jemez Springs. We rented out one of the inns there, and Scott and his partner Victoria were both there for that weekend. It was just a wonderful weekend. So anyway, such a pleasure to see Scott in his now third appearance in the Land of Enchantment, and I'm going to turn things over to Scott W. Williams.
I'm gonna try to stand, but like if I get in trouble, I'll probably fit some in my
Yeah,
my
okay.
walker. Is it okay?
Sure, that's fine. I'm going to move this a little bit further. We'll start. Yeah, the only problem is you need to look into that.
And that's for the world. Okay.
If you want to stand or sit, either way.
Okay.
Adjust this however.
All right, well, I'll stand in front of it for now.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, we want to change the angle a little bit more.
That's what it's recording.
We'll see if I can.
Yeah, just make sure your face is in there.
Right. In 1948, my parents, mother and father, moved from North Carolina to Baltimore for a job, and we lived in an interesting area which was not in the city at the time. It's there now because the city ate it. They ate much more land than where we lived, but it was kind of an odd, mystical, kind of magical place in a way. Interesting people. So, who was it? When Larry Robbins has something called the Moonstone Art Center in Philadelphia, and he also has online poetry readings, magazines, anthologies. And I submitted a couple of poems to him. He said, "Well, do you have a book?" And at that time, I had finished writing a book, and so he published it. You know, you write books, understand that once a book is published doesn't mean you're done.
Yeah.
And in fact, since I when I received the proofs for the book, and I stuck another poem in there in the proofs, and since the poems happened, I've written 4 more poems. So this whole subject is not done yet. I'm going to try an experiment. If you, this is a rare experiment. If you don't mind, I'd like to try ask you not to applaud. If you want to applaud, I'm done with the whole thing. You applaud then, but no applauding in if I can set the right kind of atmosphere, okay? I do need my glasses.
That's a Steve Wojciechowski, right?
Yeah.
Friend Steve, that says no applause till the end.
Yeah, and Bill Pruitt has been doing the same thing recently as well. And the idea is you try to set up an atmosphere and you hope you can do that, but applause kind of interrupts it a little bit. If you applaud, it's okay, but I'd rather just not do that. All right. So this is about Gamblers Woods, the neighborhood I lived in. Ivories. Shortcutting from school, 5-year-old me crosses fast-moving Cold Spring Lane. Edges dead old farmer Lagson's field. Wanders the woods across the road from our flat. Among the trees are glades where 4 to 6 guys shooting craps once scared me to poopy my pants. When the men of Gamblers Woods rode snake eyes or boxcars, they prayed to God crows would drop or pick black berry dots, and ripened cherry quarters would fall from the sky into the muck's tire tracks. The George Washingtons grant luck. When 7-Elevens mimic called for mother's rosy dreams of a once promising son's rise. 7-Elevens give pluck to future for a day, an hour, a moment of respite from that "Mama, I'm sorry" reality. I saw a man's die stumble over roots of a nameless plant that changed its 5s To 6, Mr. Jim was stabbed after saying, "That boxcar, I'll roll again." That die turned into my first death. Peeking behind trees, I learned in Gambler's Woods never to gamble. Praying. When the gamblers were gone, wherever they went with their bones, cropsless woods was still scary. Birds, squirrels, field mice, feral cats, wild dogs, going about their business. The woods had secrets to burn. It was a private altar. Each visit, as I was later to learn, is like the first time with a woman, naked before sex. To one ignorant of the monarch's name, whether or not poplar and oak differed from cherry and willow, a tree was a tree. Springs one couldn't take home, whether they were soft bubbling or surrounded by mud moats one jumps. I was never one for bringing things home, alive or dead. Then, as now, things are most beautiful in situ. But one Friday I behaved as making love closed. Into my room I snuck a tiny elephant trunk on both ends, a little solid and closed. The thing deserved an honored place. On the windowsill facing the woods, so it could each morning pray to its home. I awoke Monday, not to Mom's voice, but something on my face, a whisper which upon examination was three of thousands of creatures in my rooms escaped from inside an egg case of praying mantises. I'm reading poems from the book, but I'm also reading what I call missing poems. They're some of the poems that have written since then on the same topic. This is barbershops. Saturdays with my father at the barbershop in front of the woods at the base of St. George's Avenue. 3 barber chairs full. Room boy sweeps the floor. A man shows his son, my friend, how to man up. A woman drags in her little sons for that Sunday look. I hear jive turning into boasts on wins and losses dicing in the woods. Boxing's Joe Louis as a Charles and Sugar Ray. Baseball's Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella, and Satchel Paige. Basketball's Nat Clifton, Chuck Cooper, and Earl Lloyd. Politics, national or city, as the local guy is going. I have the sole empty seat on my first trip alone, age 10. Ceiling is like one in my father's classroom. 3 barbers working school time on Negro History Day. We had a day then, not a month like now. On Negro History Day, barbers talking about Lenny Moore football at Penn State. New black and white TV with game show playing, banked on stars. Mr. Earl calls me to his chair. I get a razor block cut and witch hazel on my neck. Tiny's, "Hey boy, where's your pops?" Got my shrug. Mr. Earl said, "Tiny, did you ever see his pops run?" Mr. Tiny said, "Yes, he ran down a dog. Never seen nothing like that." Mr. Earl said, "He finished second behind the guy who finished second in the Olympics." Mr. Tiny laughed. "That make him pops 2 seconds. He fast." They all laughed. I shrugged, paid for the razor block cut, and walked home with new stories about my father. 2/3 a century and 300 miles later, Buffalo, later, inside the timeless striped pole, we are away from the white man in this place. And like that movie Coming to America Barbershop, more like the movie The Barbershop, where there are sounds of razors strapping that leather, papas showing their son how to man up, mamas dragging in boys for that go-to-church look, women get their bald cut, hustling men hawking bootleg videos and illegal stream sites, piles on tables and windowsills, or old ebony and jet magazines. Today, there's 4 waiting for service. My regular and owner, the Rev, says, Doc, nowadays you need an appointment for me. You understand the cheerless new barber with half pizza slice in one hand and nipper clippers in the other. A broom boy sweeps the floor around the Rev's chair. Mr. Charles laments yesterday's cop shot black man. The Rev talks both Obama and white supremacists, politics national or local. I hear jive turning into both on films, horror, and martial arts, ball teams with baskets and goalposts about someone's cousin's woman. The Rev snaps the apron, pulling the weed smell from his clothes. Hair flies everywhere, but where I sit, pulling the hoodie off my messy fro, getting down to work, he zaps head naps with different blades, trims gray beard, and wild mustache. I went to see him last Thursday. Also, okay. Godmother. Godmother's land on St. George's Avenue was on the tongue's west side. In woods shadows, deep magic called. No light on her house could be seen from the east. At night, nobody looked at those trees directly, much less went through them. 6 blocks of Cold Spring Lane bisected Gambler's Woods. The tongue of Gambler's Woods reached 3 blocks south from the northern semi-ring, setting semi-rings around nearly to Cold Spring Lane. It was across the street from my Alameda Boulevard house, and there was a thick, dark path. The path to Godmother's house was dangerous. During the evening, to avoid the tongue, we took the 5-block sparsely lighted streets around to get home. The evening woods wove dusk into night. With each wind gust, a dark spirit called. Some said the voice is Diablo. Everyone knew. Just a second, I lost track. Oh, here we are. Oh, yeah. Everyone knew and respected Godmother. At times, there was a different, dark, deep voice in her house from a very tall, blacker than black, handsome man who said, Leave, go home. Brown Godmother's voice sounded as silver bells. Her red do-rag, huge dress, carpet slippers, and wan smile. When she was home, her place was safe. Whose godmother was she? Nobody could say. She was just Godmother. She forbade weapons on her grounds. If you had a knife, you were uncomfortable unless eating with it. Born in 1900, her age was a year, 52. Her father was guard for the Wilson Park founder. Even our parents bowed to Godmother, who might look after us when parents worked late. Godmother represented a before time when white hell hovered as Jim Crow and blacks encircled a leader for protection.
Oh.
Yellow. Yellow is for sun, buttercups, daisies, butterflies, bumblebees, lemons, egg yolks, hair bows, and sundresses. In school, the boy read Emily Dickinson's Nature Rarely Uses Yellow and knew it was true for this heterosexual black boy in 1956. The 13th birthday clothes his mother bought, yellow. Yellow shirt, yellow pants, yellow corded belt. If Robert Hall sold yellow shoes, the boy would have had that. Mother said, "You will be hip and popular." On Monday, he wore yellow to school. The boy wore yellow, walking up the hill, hoping Tony or Billy didn't see him. At their bus stop, they pointed, they laughed. The boy wore yellow, skirting Gondler's Woods, walking down 4 blocks past staring, smirking middle-class white housewives. The boy wore yellow at the laughing boys and girls around the school, where he was the only black boy. For yellow, his neighborhood buddies wouldn't return to fight in his defense. The teachers at school wouldn't see him that day. After school, the boy wore yellow, slumping like a passenger on a cheese-colored school bus, painted with the dreams of innumerable lifetimes. A weakening spirit of Juneteenth fortifying his shredded shirt, ripped pants, and smudged belt. Up through the white neighborhoods and woods and down the hill. Granted permission to purchase his own clothes, he never again wore yellow until the black and yellow dashiki when he was 35. That one. That one. This is my last one. It's called Scars. Scars. The duck and cover school drills were foremost when the first satellite enticed a second-class youth to search the night sky. We were scared by Russia's Sputnik. A few months later, the U.S. launched its first satellite, Explorer 1. It didn't heal the Sputnik scar. We never looked for it. A Saturday afternoon that year was my first league football scrimmage. It would be held on the newly cut vacant field, bounded by Gambler's Woods, the neighborhood black elementary school, and heavily trafficked Cold Spring Lane. Warm-ups carried smells of fresh grass and sounds of dice players' shouts and big trucks downshifting. On the first play as fullback, I bowled into the line, dragging Mooney and Jammy 10 yards across broken glass, coming to rest on Jammy's right leg. Ambulances aren't for 3 injured or bleeding black boys. Dopplering police sirens chased scrambling gamblers. Nash ramblers breaking, big truck mating calls, and a smile accompanied my own limping and dripping leg all the way home. Now, a 7-Eleven with gas station smothers the playing field. Cheap apartment buildings destroyed Gambler's Woods. Guys, I hear you graduated from jail, Jammy. Your leg fracture, Mooney. Your gushing wounds were accidental. Not revenge for you 2 scarabs trying to rape me 2 summers before. Do your scars like mine remain 60 years? That's it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you want us to the front for
Oh,
Q&A, or do you
oh,
prefer to
it's
sit
the
back?
front. Wait, I'll go back. I'll go back. Just a little.
All right, thank you, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording.
But I will have to sit, that's for sure.